Welcome to Kairos Radio. I'm your host, David Holland. Thank you for being with us here today on this Saturday. It is a great day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. I believe God is doing great things, not only in my life, but in your life. He's doing great things in the world. Though days be filled with darkness, I believe that this is a time when we can trust in what God's doing, even though we can't see exactly what he's doing. Everything seems to be all over the place. News seems to be very far one way and very far the other day in just a short amount of time. Things seem to be going really well financially, and at the same time, not going very well at all. You hear all-time highs, and you hear can barely pay the bills in short seconds away from each other in news reporting. But I do believe God has everything under control. So we want this show to be a place of peace, a place of recognition, a place of knowing that God knows what he's doing. This show is a sponsored show. That's the only reason we can be here. This is sponsored by ao.gold on the web at ao.gold, ao.gold. Type that right in the browser window. It will pop up, and you can fill out your information there in one of the handy forms, and we can reach out to you with how we can help you roll over an IRA 401k into physical gold and silver. That is the best way, I believe, to prepare for what is coming in our future, coming to the world near you, to a neighborhood near you. In India right now, we are seeing import duties being placed on gold. Of course, India is a large buyer for festivals and just sort of a cultural thing. A lot of it is jewelry, but it is significant that just the buying of gold is hurting their currency, and it's having a bad effect on it. So they are tightening controls of imports and putting high taxes on that to slow that down. This is also due in part to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and how it's affecting their imports. So we are seeing effects starting to crop up from all of this, and the strait is still not open. It is still being blocked. It is still not letting much traffic. I think there's a tiny bit of traffic coming in, but we're seeing shortages crop up everywhere. But now is a good time. The best time to buy gold and silver is when it seems to be calm. And when you can see enough out into the future where you see things not going correctly, not going the right way, but you can say, hey, let me make my move now. You don't want to make your move when it's raining. I always use Noah building the ark in the Bible scriptures in Genesis, where, he didn't wait till it started raining to build the ark. It would have been, extremely too late. But for a number of years, 120 years, whatever it is, he built with blue skies or whatever colored skies. He didn't build with rain. He didn't build with thunderstorms or chaos. He just built with knowledge that something was coming that he needed to be prepared for. So we need to be prepared for what is coming. We have clear evidence that it's not going to be okay. We have clear evidence that things are not going the right direction in the country financially, with deficits, money printing, and the like. So now is a great time to move into gold and silver, physical gold and silver you can hold, you can touch, stored in Texas, kept in Texas. You can go visit it if it's in an IRA 401k, or we can ship it directly to your home if you're looking at converting cash, which, again, the news is inflation's creeping back up. Costs of the important stuff in life that we all have to have is creeping up. So again, your dollars are buying less and gold is buying more. I was looking at a stat earlier. It said basically $1 in 1971 would buy what a penny would buy today. So that dollar's purchasing power since 1971 has devalued in relationship to the amount of gold it would purchase to right at a penny. So it's lost 99% of its purchasing power since 1971 in relation to what gold is. And it's probably more than that. It's probably a good bit more than that, but I will just stick with 99 because that's bad enough. And it's not going the other way. It's going to continue to go the wrong way. It's continuing to get worse and worse. But now is the opportune time. Now is the Kairos moment to take control of the future, to get yourself protection within physical gold and silver, God-designed money for your home, for your house, for your family. Now is the time. Call us at 855-426-4653. Reach out to us there, ao.gold. Fill out the form, and we'll take care of you. But back to just to life. This is significant things going on. We want to be prepared. We see everything that has manifested in the world and the extreme all over the places. But again, we're not here to preach doom and gloom. I don't think I need to scare you to move. I think there is the carrot and the stick approach. There is wisdom in saying, hey, this is rough. Let's take care of it. Let's approach this with what time we have and what not. However, when it comes time and the bad stuff starts happening and it's quicker, there is a level of fear that creeps in. And sometimes you have to have a stick to help you move. I've had to have sticks in my life before to help me move in situations. And I'd always prefer the carrot. It's a little easier, but sometimes we just can't see it without some pain. And, we want to use the carrot as much as we can here and know that this is just something that makes logical sense. Things with thousands of years of history to say, hey, this has value. This has a store of value. This keeps you stable in unstable times versus, hey, this thing's been nifty for, a decade, or this thing's been being printed, into oblivion for 50 years and everything is great. 50 years versus thousands of years. For us, today is today, but we cannot, in our culture, our American culture is a microwaving culture. It's push the button and I want, a 2-hour process to be done in a minute. And then I can go on about my day. But that does have consequences if you do not stop and count the time, if you do not stop and assess what has been, what is, and then what will be. What are things going to look like in a week, a month, a year, 5 years? How much time do we have before this system is not sustainable? Can you know when you can get in and out? And by the time you go to say, hey, I think the storm's coming. I think the thing's getting bad. When you show up to make your move, will it be too late then? Because my guess is the people, if you and I can see it, there's other people in other positions with a lot more money and a lot more prestige and power can see it much further off. And they've already made their moves. And there may not be an opportunity for you and I to make a move. But if we can use wisdom and we can use the carrot approach, we can look far enough into the future and say, I want to have my assets in gold and silver because they've always stood the test of time and they will be there when I need them. They're safe. They're outside the banking system. They're outside the dollar-based system. Government can't just show up one day and start printing more gold. They can't print oil. That's why we see this everything moving. They can only manipulate what we give them the power to, which is paper currency. And that is being manipulated quite a bit. And it will continue. It will go up and down and we'll see this roller coaster effect. But at the end of the day, we need tangibility. We need things that are given to us to keep us stable. And here we believe in God's creation and God's design for this. I would say there is a proverb that says that dishonest weight and measures, that God does not like them. In fact, that he hates them. And in the old times when people would weigh out things, they would have a heavy weight and a light weight if they were dishonest. And they would say, oh, this is so much. And they would weigh so much grain or whatever they were weighing. And they would use a dishonest weight because it would get them more or, the other person less. And, you may not see it this way, but to me, it's pretty clear as day that you can not tell me that the dollar bill is not a dishonest weight and measure. If it loses its power to buy things that when I worked for my dollar bill when I was a kid and put in sweat equity and was given that dollar bill, that should still have the same equity to buy whatever goods and services I need to buy today. But it's not there. My dollar bill does not go very far at all. It stays very, very limited every day that goes by. So we are in a system of dishonest weights and measures, and I don't believe that it will sustain, because if it's not something that God approves of, or it's not something that God's biblical principles align with, it will fall apart. It always has and always will. That it's just a basic principle of life. And we just had new story that just came out was we had record imports of China importing silver, just an unbelievable amount of silver. A lot of that isn't for industrial use, but they are looking into the future. China looks as far out as much as we disagree with their system of government and how they're set up. China knows how to look far into the future and prepare for times when it might not be good to their own benefit and to the benefit of their country and their people. We don't have that same foresight. We've only looked for what's the next quarter, what's the next earnings report, what's the next whatever. And that increased short-sightedness will not serve us well. When we come back, we'll pick this up. I'll get into some nuts and bolts of how a rollover works, how an account in a self-directed IRA works when we get back.
Hi, this is David Holland, founder of ao.gold. Let me be direct for a moment. Things are changing, and they're changing quickly. Inflation is still eating away at purchasing power, the national debt continues to climb, and the financial system is more fragile than most people realize. You don't have to be an expert to see this. You can feel it every time you go to the store or look at your savings. The real question is, what are you doing about it? Because hoping things get better is not a strategy. At ao.gold, we help people take action, real, practical steps to protect what they've worked hard for. That means moving a portion of your savings out of vulnerable paper assets into physical gold and silver, assets that have held value for thousands of years. This isn't about panic, it's about preparation. And here's the truth, the people who wait until everything is obvious are usually too late. We've already seen banks fail, we've seen markets swing wildly, and when confidence shifts, it happens fast. That is why we're having more conversations than ever right now with people just like you, people who simply want to protect their retirement, their savings, and their future, whether it's rolling over an IRA or 401k, or just getting started with physical metals. We walk you through it step by step with honesty, clarity, and zero pressure. But you do need to take that first step. Go to ao.gold. That's ao.gold. Or call us today at 855-426-4653 and talk to a real person who can help you understand your options. Don't wait for the next headline to make the decision for you. This is David Holland with ao.gold, encouraging you to prepare wisely, take action, and protect your future while you still can.
Welcome back to the second half of Kairos Radio. Thank you for being with us today. Kairos Radio is sponsored by ao.gold. I should complete that sentence. On the web at ao.gold, 855-426-4653. You can call us today. We can send you some information, packet information, just telling you how it works, a little infographic. We even have a cool booklet that we send out to a lot of people called Should Christians Buy Gold? It's not like an exhaustive list, of course, but it's a high level, just look at common, questions people have regarding, what does the Bible say about gold? How does it say what we should do as far as stewardship, preparedness, rational? I'm not talking about building a bunker, preparing for the end of the world, but there is wisdom in taking the steps that we need to take before things get worse. It's not fear. It's reality. If you don't agree with that reality, I would seriously question how you view things. I would seriously question how you look at things. If you think this is a party that's never going to end as far as the stock market, then by all means, just, that's you can figure it out on your own. But for those of us who see that there is definitely trouble coming, I'm not here to predict it's today, tomorrow, next week. I don't know, but I do know that eventually it will. It's a process of time. History, doesn't repeat, right? What's the old saying? Doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, and it doesn't lie. And also, I believe neither does the word of God. So whatsoever a man sows, that shall he reap. If we sow a lot of spending, that just is, I mean, if you look at the waste of government, if you look at the excesses of banking system and Wall Street and people and lives and everyone, there's an excess that all this sowing of this will be reaped someday. And I believe that we're on the cusp, we're on the edge of that. So ao.gold is a way to get prepared. It's a way to prepare your ark for the flood that's coming, to prepare your family, to get in something of safety, to get in something that has been through the fire, so to speak, right? If I apply fire, heat, pressure to gold and silver, they only get more pure. But if I apply it to paper assets, they are going to break down very quickly. So there is a principle there. One can withstand the heat, one cannot. And it crumples very, very quickly. So get prepared, ao.gold, alpha, omega, gold, all your precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium. A lot of people calling and asking about, or emailing and asking about copper, because copper is doing really well. We can get copper. We can sell you copper. It can't be an IRA or a 401k, but we can do that. There are copper ingots, and I don't know. It's not as effective to store like precious metals. The amount of value you can put in, let's just say a pound of copper versus a pound of silver versus a pound of gold is quite different. Although copper is gaining, its function is a little different. You're going to need a warehouse or a large place to store a significant amount of copper, but it's there. But call us, ao.gold. Reach out to us at ao.gold. Call us at 855-426-4653. That's 855-4, the number 4, AOGOLD, if you want to spell it out on your number pad there. So I wanted to cover in this second half quickly just how a self-directed IRA works. So a self-directed IRA is a basket. It is a mechanism that you can put physical gold and silver in. It is a recognized retirement account. Most commonly, people roll from a traditional 401k that is eligible to be rolled over without penalties or taxes. They roll from there over into a self-directed IRA. Whether it's a Roth or traditional, those are very easy to do. And then, or if they already have an IRA set up, a Roth IRA or a a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, they can transfer it. That's just direct IRA to IRA transfer. So the difference being is that a self-directed IRA is the only mechanism or the availability, right, where you can put physical gold and silver that's titled in your name. It's a different setup. So other financial advisors will say, yes, I can get you gold, GLD, or something else, but be aware that it's not exactly a one-for-one thing. So I'm not here to argue with financial advisors. They do great. They do their own thing. That's not what we are. We're not financial advisors. I'm just telling you the mechanisms. You want physical gold that's purchased, that's titled in your name, that's in a segregated account, allocated storage, and it's sitting there, and no one else has title ownership over that. That's what you want, and that's what you can get with a self-directed IRA. The other setups that the typical financial world offers does not give you the same. It simply doesn't. There's, they can get you something that looks like it or something that appears to look like it. It's not the same. I don't, it's not something you can look into. Whatever, you can look at the differences, or you can call us, we can explain the differences, but you want to be in something that is already there. If you roll over a 401k, an eligible 401k, or you transfer an IRA to a self-directed IRA, then you go, when the funds arrive into your account that's set up, and then you go through us, purchase physical gold and silver then that is stored in a depository not too far from Austin. And that is there. That is there. You've already purchased it. You don't have to wait in line. And then let's just say a year from whenever you purchase it, the world is melting down and you're like, I gotta convert this, whatever it is, I gotta do whatever. That you have to go, as everyone else sees the fear, and they have to go wait in line. You have to go wait in line with them and hope that the price is going to be where you want it, the availability is going to be where you want it, and everything's going to be in place that you want to do at that time. But if you've already done it, it's already done. You don't have to worry about standing in line. You don't have to worry about what happens when, it falls apart. You've already done the hard work. I remember one time that I heard a message. It was preached by a preacher, and the title of it was, "Can You Sleep on a Stormy Night?" And the principle, I'll sum it up in just a few seconds here, but the principle was that during the day before the storm, it was kind of giving the story of a rancher who worked on a ranch, and he went and fixed all of his stuff. He fixed his fences, he fixed his water gaps, he did everything he did, made sure his barns, everything was in order. And then when the storm came, he just slept because he had done the work beforehand. So he wasn't out living in the frivolity of life and the excesses of life. He was doing the hard work to be ready. And then when the storm came, he could sleep. He could be fine because that work was in place. This is the same principle here. You want to get prepared beforehand, and using a self-directed IRA mechanism for physical gold and silver is the easiest and best way to do it if you're in a retirement account. Obviously, if you just in cash, you're a small business owner and you're excess cash and it's sitting there, you can convert that. We have lots of small business owners that, have hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, that they're kind of concerned that what happens in the event of a Silicon Valley Bank, where the large top, suppliers of the bank, the people that have the most, just suddenly yank their money and the whole house of cards falls. What happens to me in that case? They want to take some excesses and convert it into real money. So that's easy to do. That's just direct delivery, or you can store those as well in a private depository. That's not a problem. But this is what we offer, and this is how that works. A self-directed IRA, it functions just like a normal IRA. It functions just like any sort of a process. So if you are eligible to roll over, you can do it. If you're not, there's really no way to get around it. You have old employers. If you worked for a company, say for 5 years, and had a 401k, and then you rolled it over to a new 401k, you changed employers or lost your job or quit or whatever, those funds that are in that can be rolled over that were with the previous employer. So it doesn't matter really how young you are at that point. But once you get 59 and a half, then there is generally an open door for you to make those moves into a self-directed IRA. IRAs are pretty simple. They're generally always transferable from traditional or Roth IRA to a traditional or Roth self-directed IRA, and then put physical gold and silver in them. Again, I'm not giving you financial advice. It's not a financial advice show. I'm talking about the realities of life. I'm talking about the